You know, if people could just get along with each other, we would never be getting to this situation in the first place. It would just be nice. If you were just nice to your brother and sister and your mom and your dad and the Al Qaeda guy across the street, if you were just nice to everybody, we would never be in this situation. I kind of feel like going across the bridge, but I shouldn't. I kind of feel like watching the air show, but I shouldn't. Look how big my hand is. It's bigger than my face. You know, I need to buy a sailboat because I heard that those guys have the best views of the air show. Little people all over the picnic, all over the grass. It's too packed over there, though. All right, I'll give you guys a little glimpse. That's evidence of the air show. Go away, car. See all the boats? They've all got the best. They've got the prime seats for the air show. Them and me, because this car is pretty prime as far as air show viewing goes. It's like a roving stadium seat that you don't have to pay for. But then again, nobody there had to pay for theirs either, except for the boat, whatever they paid to get the boat. Why am I going this way? I don't want to be going across the bridge. But I also don't want to get off on the last San Francisco exit. Or do I? Do I want to get off on the last San Francisco exit? View area, San Francisco Presidio, Golden Gate, NRA, and Fort Point. NRA is here? That's odd. I guess I'm going across the bridge on accident. There's probably something very important waiting for me on the other side. I want to run this bridge this week, and I'll maybe give you guys some views from here. Actually, right now would be a perfect time to do it. Maybe that's why I'm coming across here. See, I never know why I do anything. Sometimes I find out later why I'm doing stuff, but before, nah, no clue. Yeah, so I gave a ride to a news anchor. I already forgot. Oh, Kron, K-R-O-N. His name is Steven if you want to look him up. Steven from KRON television station. And I wasn't suspicious of him or anything. Not that I'm suspicious of news anchors, but if I had known he was a news anchor the whole conversation, I may have asked him some questions, but I didn't find out till later, and it was too late. I would just ask him Ron Burgundy questions, I think. But he was he was interesting. He was intelligent. He knew things. He knew stuff. He he seemed like if somebody were to walk out of the 1920s or 1930s and plop into my passenger seat here as an Uber passenger, that's how his demeanor was. And we talked about lots of things, and he notified me that George Lucas grew up in Modesto, which I didn't know. And yeah, it was a interesting conversation. The only thing I didn't like about him was we had a passenger in the back. Her name was Clarissa, I believe, and she didn't seem super interested in being dragged into our conversation, but Steven here kind of forcibly drug her in, and she was really nice and sweet. You know, she didn't just reject or refuse, but I could tell he was a bit pushy. Nothing bad, nothing real bad though. I mean, I enjoyed it. And I gave a ride to some sales executive lady from McAfee Internet Security. Now, sometimes I have to relearn lessons about first impressions, because a lot of times I get a first impression and, of course, judge harshly like I always do, based on dramatic first impressions. And then she kind of surprised me. Oh, there's a whole bunch of itty-bitty people up on the hill watching the... Maybe that's why I'm coming over here, just so I can watch the air show, run across the bridge, entertain you guys. I don't know what's going on. I wonder if there's parking anywhere. So I gave a ride to this woman, and I picked her up at the airport, and she wasn't where she was supposed to be, even though I called beforehand. And the reason I called beforehand is because the traffic guys there have a fit if your passenger isn't waiting the second that you pull up to the curb, and they try to give out $300 tickets. And I'm not a fan of $300 tickets, so I try to avoid that. So I called her, and I'm like, oh, you're at Terminal 1, door 11, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, are you outside? She says, yes. I said, good, I'll see you in a bit. So I pull up, and she's not there. So immediately, she's on my bad side just because of that. And finally, I call her again, and then she wasn't paying attention. She was just further up. And maybe this one will work. And so she eventually, I was calling her right as she was walking up, and she walked up. She didn't know how to open the back. So half of the people don't know how to open the back, and half of them do. The half that do are more intelligent than the half that don't, as far as I can tell. So she was amongst the half that couldn't figure out where the button was. So that dropped her even lower on my judgment scale. And then she had zero facial expressions when I helped her with her bag, and she didn't say thank you. And her lips were full of Botox, and she looked like a rich white girl, daddy's girl, whatever. I don't know what you call them. Oh, maybe there's a spot right there. So I judged the shit out of this woman. I had determined that she had nothing to offer me, and I had nothing to offer her. And I was determined to continue that trip in silence all the way back to San Francisco. And then at some point, she asked about a song. Oh, she asked about Hollywood Undead, which I'm currently playing as my Pandora station. And then she started talking about she was comparing them to 21 Pilots and Linkin Park, and so we kind of started having a discussion on accident. I was not intending for that to happen. And then we continued talking from there. And some guy cut me off, and then she started talking about him and what an ass he was, and we started having an actual conversation about stuff, whatever was happening. And you know, it was fun. It was a fun conversation. And you know, so I eventually let her off and continued on my merry way. And I'm sure she was all of those things that I had judged her to be in the beginning. She was all of those things, but that wasn't it. Like, sometimes I have to remember that, yeah, people are going to be all these things that you're judging them to be, but they're also more dynamic outside of that. They don't need to be just in those boxes. They're in a shit ton of other boxes too. And plus, they can just be interesting people as well. They don't have to be just whatever box you first put them in. So yeah, just sometimes judging. I wonder if I can park here. I think I'll park right here. You know, you guys are gonna get to watch some air show. That's what's happening. I'm gonna get to do some exploring, relieve my aching legs, and you're gonna watch some air show. And most likely my phone's gonna run out of battery and this will just cut off at some point. And if that happens, then so be it. You will know why it happened. Don't be mad if that happens. Or be mad. I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. Yes. So we're in Sausalito. I'm gonna go off-roading here. If these trees ever break, then basically we would have a perfect, if this cuts off and I want to continue this particular segment, I'll just free up space on my phone and then upload another one. So you guys don't need to have a panic attack if that happens. Because you know these videos are like the most important part of your day and stuff. Ah, look, you can see. See the bay. And there you go, look, there they are. Can you see them? Blue Angels. I can't zoom, it's front facing camera. Get some boat action. There's got to be some better viewing. Whew, feels good to walk. It's so nice here. Like, Sausalito. I think I'm gonna come live in Sausalito. I'm gonna come live in the forests of Sausalito. Everybody here just bikes, rides bikes everywhere, follows the law. Maybe. Who knows? People are always suspicious of somebody talking at their phone, though, because they kind of know that they are encroaching on that bubble, and they're probably worrying about, you know, they're gonna make some sort of noise that might get published somewhere they don't want it to be published. Okay, so I think there's going to be a little bit of space opening up here. 14 minutes. I should start doing like Og and just like interact with every single person passing by. I don't really want to do that. I don't like talking to a lot of people. Oh, this is gonna be good viewing. It's coming up. It's coming up.
That's all I demand. Give me some steak.
I think I see it. There's a spot down there that should give good viewing. If I can manage to make it down there. I think actually even up this hill here, I could climb up there and get a view. Maybe that would be wiser. Because I don't really know how to get down to that lower spot. But I do know how to get up to the upper spot. So I think that might be the proper way. See if I can not get run over by a bus. My sandals full of stickers like that other video that I made. I had to discard of those sandals. I bet you anything there'll be a bunch of people up here. Because I am following a path. Sort of a path. There won't be a bunch of people, but there will be some people. I suspect. Perhaps some cops coming to tell me that this is improper place for me to be placing myself. Still going? 17 minutes? Still going. Okay. This is not nearly as bad as the other video. It's a pretty good view. And we could probably get a little bit higher too. That other video, it was another